Hi, today I'm going to teach you more about the topic of risk profiles. And by the end of this video, you should know, first of all, what risk profiles are, what kind of risk profiles there are, what they mean exactly, and which one fits you best, or at least how to find out which one fits you best. And I'm going to teach you more about this because, in my opinion, risk profiles are an essential part of building wealth passively in the long run. If you don't know what risk profiles are, or you don't know which one suits you best, you will probably be investing wrong. Either you're taking too much risk or you're generating too little return for your appetite. And obviously, neither is optimal. So today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about risk profiles so you can determine for yourself which one fits you best. But let's start off with the basics. What exactly are risk profiles? And the definition of a risk profile essentially is a risk profile evaluates an individual's willingness to take risk. And in this context, obviously, take risk with their investments. So simply said, it shows how much risk someone is willing to take, and with that, how much variability in their returns they're willing to withstand. Generally speaking, we can divide risk profiles into three different categories. You have aggressive risk profiles, moderate risk profiles, and conservative risk profiles. But it's also a spectrum. So there are people who will be somewhere in between aggressive and moderate, and there will be people who are somewhere in between moderate and conservative. So it's a long, long line, and you can essentially be anywhere along that line. And a more aggressive risk profile can generate high returns, but it also comes with a significant portion of risk. A more moderate risk profile tries to provide a balance between growth and safety, and then a conservative risk profile really focuses on stability and capital preservation instead of chasing the highest possible returns. And what your risk profile is essentially determined by a few different factors. And the most important factors are your age, your income, your personality, and your investment goals. And when I talk about age, what I mean is people who are older and closer to retirement are generally not willing to risk as much as a 20-something-year-old who still has a lot of time to rebuild their fortune if it were to disappear tomorrow, for example. And in terms of income, the more money you make, the more aggressive your risk profile generally is. For example, if you take home $5,000 a month, 20%, so $1,000 could be a lot of money for you. After your mortgage, your insurance, your car payments, kids' college fund, groceries, utilities, you name it, you might not even have 1,000 left to invest. But if you take home 100,000 a month, for example, you could hypothetically burn 25,000 and it wouldn't change your life. I mean, it would be a shame, but it would not really affect you. Investment goals also play a role in determining what your risk profile is. If you're investing for something very far away in the future and you're still young, like retirement, for example, you can generally afford to take more risk, especially in the early phases of your investment. And then as the goal comes closer, you just slowly start to turn down the risk level a few notches every time. But for example, if you are investing for something or saving for something in the near future, you usually want to take less risk. For example, if you want to invest or save for a new car, to buy a new car in 5 years, you do want to be sure that in 5 years' time you have sufficient financial resources to afford that car. So you will probably not take huge gambles with that money because you want to be certain. You want to more or less be guaranteed that you can still afford that car. And then lastly, your personality also plays a big role in determining what your risk profile is. People who are more risk averse tend to have more conservative risk profiles, and then people who are much more risk seekers, naturally speaking, they tend to have more aggressive risk profiles. And your portfolio or your risk profile largely determines what your portfolio's asset allocation is going to be. So the mix of different financial products that you use, depending on the risk. So, for example, someone with a very aggressive risk profile might invest 80 to 100% of their money into stocks and just a very small portion, or maybe even nothing, into bonds. And then someone with a more moderate risk appetite might invest 60, 70% into stocks, then 30 or 40 into bonds. And then someone with a more conservative risk profile might just invest maybe 20, maybe 30% into stocks and then 70, 80% into bonds. And this might be someone who's going to retire somewhere in the next 5 years, or maybe they have already retired and their main concern is keeping what they have accumulated over the years instead of taking unnecessary risks to grow it a tiny bit more. So if you want to know which one of these profiles fits you best, you have to ask yourself a few questions. What is my age? Do I still have a long time ahead of me to invest or not? What exactly am I investing for? Is it a goal far, far away in the future or pretty close by? How much of my income can I miss? Am I comfortable financially or not? And then personality-wise, am I a risk seeker or am I more risk averse? So that's it for today's breakdown of risk profiles. So by now you should know what risk profiles are and how you can find out, which one fits you best. And in short, a risk profile is essentially a blueprint of how you should invest based on your age, your income, your goals, and your personality. And regardless of what your profile is, it's important to know it because it balances your risk and your return. If you with this, you can invest in a way that really aligns with who you are and what your current life situation is. So, investing with the wrong profile would mean that you're either taking too much stress on your portfolio or too little growth, and that's not ideal for anyone. So, figure out what your growth profile is, and well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.